Well, hello everyone, and I'm going to tell you the legend of a certain car here on the Gear Change Show. Thought I'd do something somewhat original, so I'm going to do the legend of the Carozella C series, and while I'm driving around the city, I'm going to tell you guys the story of it, and kind of a myth. And there's many certain series, but there's a Carozella, but there's a certain Carozella C series, this red Daredevil color that three-speed transmission, no lights. So yeah, what's the story behind this one? So this was purchased in 1929, and it was raced for 4 years before it was defeated. It was undefeated before Tony Angelo here beat it at the Los Haven Autodrome with his bird breaker. So why is this thing so famous? Well, because of that red paint job. This was supposed to be painted red, but unfortunately the team decided not to paint it red, but decided to paint it blue. And Lichtman, the driver, Harold Lichtman, decided to take a blue one instead. So this car was kind of Lichtman's special shut up the music here so you guys can hear me talk. Alright, I gotta put my gun away here before I shoot it. And I'm seen banishing a firearm in this game, which I can't do. And so this thing started out with a 2.3 liter engine that made about 250 horsepower and was capable of going 100 miles an hour. Not really fast, but this engine, 3.2, gave 297, and it did very well against the Germans and the English. but not against an American Brewbreaker 40 driven by Tommy Angelo here. So Tommy's driving the car that he defeated in a race. So it was first driven in 1930. Well, it was first raced in the summer of in the spring of 1929. Its driver, its first driver, which was Nicola Giuseppe, ended up winning a few races, and he had a lot of money. He had a business selling bulk pasta, and he was able to race this car because he had a lot of money coming into his business. And then 1929, obviously the post-war boom came to an end, and we ran into the Great Depression. Sorry, folks, for a quick sorry, folks, I do not know what happened there. I lost control of the, you can see it's a little damaged, but yeah, right after the Depression, Nicola Giuseppe couldn't race it anymore because he didn't have enough money, so the car sat for a while. And car sat for a while, and it was picked up by the Italian government, who decided to use it as one knew of its accolades in 29, and decided to race it. This car from the spring of 29 to the fall of 29, when Giuseppe ran out of funds, won first place 4 times, came second. It raced a total of like 15 races, so it came in second. So it came in first like 5 times. It came in second another 5, and I think it ended up coming third another. And then I think the rest of the races, I don't think it finished either third or worse, because I think right after October he wasn't able to support himself and wasn't able to repair the car and upgrade it. So the Italian government got their hands on it, and they launched the engine from 2.3 to 2.9 and gave it about another 10 miles an hour on the top speed. And they supercharged it. This is a supercharged straight 8, and they started racing it in 1932. And this car went on a winning streak. This car was able to win 15 races. All 15 races next year. All 15 races in the Grand Prix calendar. The Germans didn't quite have the firepower yet, so they had a couple of Benzes and a couple of auto unions that could do okay, but they weren't really up to the task. And just yet, so, and the Italians decided to employ a German since they figured the Germans were efficient, they were cold, they were fearless at the wheel, so they gave it to Harold Lichtman, and he personally asked them to bore it out to 3.2 liters. And that's what gave this car its 297 horsepower total, and gave it a top speed of 130. Gave it another 20 miles an hour. And on these tires, that is scary enough. Lichtman basically was best in class. He won, I think in 33, I think he won. He ended up winning 14 of the 15 races he contested. You guys want to gander guess which one? Well, it's the one he lost to Tommy Angelo here. Pretty crushing defeat, actually. He ended up, the engine ended up blowing up because, well, this car didn't race. Lichtman actually ended up having to run a blue one because the American rules didn't allow anything over 3 liters. So this was ineligible. So he had to race a 2.9. And unfortunately, because the American gas was a little different, plus some tuning with Luca Bertoni, they ended up winning that race because this car was 2.9 variant. Ended up sputtering out on the start finish line. 2 seconds into the race, Lichtman hit the gas, and he was telling the Italian mechanics what happened to the car, and they didn't know. No one was the wiser. They thought it was the American gas, and they found out that the gas was really doing. And he was like, "Oh, it's doing so well," but they didn't know that, it killed the timing. So when he warmed up that day, he ended up losing some horsepower, and this car ended up sitting for a while. So yeah, so this car ended up sitting for a while. And it went into hiding for another 5 years, 4 years, and that came out in 1937 in the hands of a one Razio. I believe it was Razio. I believe it was Nazio Buvallari, who was, and since this is the Mafia universe, that's Tazio Nuvolari. Because Von Lichtman was basically Von Brach from frickin'. So Nazio Buvallari ended up racing this car, mixed success. Kept it at this. He actually found this 3.2 form right here, and he ended up winning every single race. But that's what you win in every single race and everything. But, you know, Germans came out with their cars 5 races in, and he thought he had, he thought he had the run of the mill, and you know what happened? Italians didn't want to go up against the Germans. So yeah, so this is a little banged up, but you guys can still see. I think it's because my controller ended up going, but you know, a tough old girl, and it took a couple hits back in its day, and took Lickman to some very great races. So in total, this thing won in its lifetime. It won 5 its first year in 20. It's 5. It won 5 races in its first year in 29, and then it won 15 in. It won 15 in 29 and 31 and 33 until it was beaten by Tommy Angelo here, and then it won, and then it got into the hands of Nazio Buvallari, and it won another 14 races. So in total, this car won over 35 races, and it came in second 5 times, and it only DNF'd once in its career. So, out of the placed second 5 times, and then other places, and then I think third or fourth or fifth another 5 times. So this car won out of 15 races in the 3 seasons it's entered. So 45 races, it won 35 of them. So this was a pretty successful car. And as I said, this is the Carozella or the Carozella C type, C series. So yeah, so everybody, so yeah, this is so what happened to it? Well, World War II broke out, and the Germans got their hands on it during their time in Italy, and brought it back. They put a 5-liter V8 engine in it, straight 8 in it, and they ended up screwing this thing up. And after that, it may have won a run. It won a race here and a race there, but no one was No one was really keeping track, because this thing wasn't on any official race circuits. It was kind of some underground races. And then it sat during the war, and I think an American named Parker Blackstone ended up finding it while he was over in Europe. I think he led some troops back into some German town and found this thing collecting dust, and he said, "Well, boys, let's bring this back over. Let's bring this back over to Chicago." And so yeah, and it's still raced in classic events today. So it's won 10 classic events. It's mostly showbiz, because no one really wants to bang up this car like I did. So yeah. So everybody, this is the story of the Carozella, the Carozella C series in its full history, and the myth. And the reason why they say it was so successful, well, it's because of this red paint job. And somehow the drivers just drove this thing crazy. Drove the wheels off it, and it never really broke except for that one time. We know that the Mafia broke the engine, so, and really did number to it. So yeah, that's the full story of the full myth. And some people said that because it was under Morello's payroll, it may have been cursed. And I think the reason why it was painted red is because Morello definitely wanted a red car. But we all know that the protagonist, Tommy Angelo, had a red one. They wanted a very good blood red Italian battles. You know, two Italian guys going up against, you know, two Italian cars going up against two Italian factions going up against each other with the color red. But you know, and you know, some people say that this thing, some people say that this paint job had something to do with it. So and I'm going to attempt to drive it for you very fast. No guarantees that I'm going to not crash. You cannot flip a race car over, kids. Don't ever try that at home. Only one place I can max this out, and that's the Giuliani Bridge. So I'm going to give you guys this thing. It's proper send off, so I want to show you guys, and I may wreck it, watch. So why did it sit for so long? It's set for 60 years. So why did it sit for so long? Well, somebody brought it back to Chicago, and on one summer day back in 1968, somebody decided to race this thing across the bridge. Or, shouldn't say to Chicago, but but here in Los Haven. Everybody get out of the way. And that's what happened. The driver got too cocky and went 140 miles an hour. And he died. So that is kind of the reason why this car is painted red, because a lot of people had the daredevil idea for going 130 miles an hour on city streets, and that's what happened. So yeah, he pretty much had an untimely demise, and yes. So, and this is the full story of the Carozella and the myth and its downfall. Very successful racing car, too bad it was abused. So I will see you guys later. This is Radio Show episode 242 here for the Gear Change Show. See you guys later, and I will catch you guys for the next one next Saturday. So peace out, folks. Good day.